He stood near the fountain every morning, weathered, silent, and still. His hands, stained with time and grit, clutched a battered tin cup. His clothes hung from his shoulders like faded memories, and yet there was something regal in his stillness. Passers-by avoided his gaze. They were too busy, too proud, or too distracted to wonder who he was before the street became his home. I was one of them. I was young, ambitious, and completely consumed by my chase for status. Fresh out of university, I'd landed a high-paying job in the city. I wore tailored suits, scrolled social media like it was scripture, and believed success was measured in followers, luxury watches, and corner office views. The man by the fountain? Just a shadow in my peripheral vision. Until one morning changed everything. I was walking to a client meeting when I overheard laughter. A group of interns stood near the fountain, tossing coins at the man's feet. "Make a wish," one joked. Another mocked his silence. "Bet he's mute. Or just too proud to beg properly." They laughed and walked off. But I paused. Maybe it was guilt, maybe curiosity. I walked up and, without thinking, placed a $5 bill in his cup. He looked up. His eyes didn't show shame or desperation, they showed depth. Like he was carrying a story far bigger than anyone could guess. He said only one word. "Sit." I blinked. I had 10 minutes to spare. So I sat on the edge of the fountain. Silence stretched between us. Then he pulled out a small, crumpled envelope from inside his coat. He handed it to me. No explanation. Inside was a single note. Asterisk, you measure wealth by what you keep. I measure it by what I give away. Asterisk. I didn't understand. I smiled politely and stood to leave. But something stayed with me. The simplicity. The weight. That sentence lived in the back of my mind for weeks. Out of curiosity, or maybe something deeper, I started to return. Every few days, I'd find him in the same spot. Some days he'd speak. Just a sentence. Always vague, but always striking. People invest in walls to feel secure. I invested in people, and I never felt alone. Your worth isn't in the car you drive. It's in the silence that follows when you lose everything. I became obsessed. Who was he? I asked around. The nearby vendors said he'd been there for years. Never asked for anything. Never slept on the streets. He disappeared each night and reappeared each morning. No one had ever seen where he went. One day, I followed him. From a distance, I watched as he slipped through a narrow alley behind an abandoned bookstore. The door was locked. I waited. Hours passed. Then a man in a black suit arrived, entered the alley, knocked twice in a rhythm, and the door opened. That night, I returned with the same knock. Inside was not a shelter. It was a library, a private archive, filled with antique books, investment journals, and ledgers. The air smelled of cedar and ink. A woman sat behind the desk. When she saw me, she smiled. "You've been expected," she said, handing me a sealed envelope with my name on it. Inside was a letter. Typed. Precise. "You judged me like the others until you paused. That pause changed your life. You didn't give me money. You gave me a moment of curiosity. A rare currency." Attached were documents, copies of real estate holdings, art valuations, and donation records. The man by the fountain wasn't poor. He was a retired investor, once the mind behind a global philanthropic trust that remained anonymous for decades. After losing his wife, he chose a new life, not to escape pain, but to teach others about value beyond money. Each year, he selected one person who paused, who listened, who questioned. He'd chosen me. By the next morning, he was gone. His fountain spot empty. But at my office, a courier delivered a package. Inside was the original tin cup. And a note. "You asked nothing, but received everything. Don't waste it." Alongside was access to a hidden trust, meant to fund causes of my choosing. No instructions, just responsibility. Now, years later, I tell his story not to glorify mystery, but to reveal a truth most overlook. We chase wealth in numbers, but the richest man I ever met carried no wallet. He taught me that fortune isn't what we accumulate, it's what we awaken in others. It's in humility, in listening, in moments we're too proud to notice. So next time you walk by someone who seems invisible, pause. It might change your life forever. Keywords: motivational story, real-life inspirational story, emotional storytelling, homeless man changes life, secret millionaire, kindness story, act of humility, viral YouTube story, life-changing moment, eye-opening tale, true story with a twist, secret philanthropist, wealth beyond money, powerful ending, must-watch story. Let me know if you'd like a script adaptation or thumbnail prompt for this story.